I literally ended up working 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, only to find myself stressed out. So here I am, successful 20-something-year-old who's got her own business, 130 staff, everything you want to dream of. But here I am, like, with no husband, no health, and no time for myself.
That's 3 businesses. If you went back into it, which I don't think you want to, but if you did, what would you do differently?
We're joined by Paulina Roach, known for her impactful work at the International Academy of Wealth.
Taking people from being trapped in their business to working only where and when they want to.
It's not about showing your money. 99% of people are only after 2 things. One is time, and the other one is the other things like houses, Lamborghinis, etc. They are all nice to have, but that's not the desire that most people have.
Did you sell it or did you just shut it down?
In 3 years, we went from 6-figure debt to traveling the world on our investment portfolio, with our business working on autopilot.
What was the advice you gave yourself to make that decision?
2 things. One is don't overthink it, and the other one is
no hustle, worship here, we're a different breed. Action is what we got if action is what you need. Content capitalist, we're breaking the mold. Cause the old ways fade, new stories to be told. So content capitalist, get to the prize.
This is the Content Capitalist Podcast, and my name is Ken Okazaki. There are as many ways to make money with content as there are people doing it. So listen in as my clients, past, present, and future, unpack how they crack the code to making $1 million a year or more while capitalizing on their content. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Content Capitalist Podcast. Today I have with me a guest, and what's so interesting is just a couple days ago I was on her show, and then I realized that this would be an excellent fit for my show as well. Meaning every single one of you listeners I think is going to value what comes out of today's conversation. Paulina Roach, welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and have another opportunity to have a conversation with you. It's awesome.
Paulina, thank you. Look, I think that for the listeners who may not have been acquainted with you, heard your name before, could you give us the 30,000 foot view? Who do you help? What do you help them accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. So we help online business owners or even service business owners to go from profit to prosperity. So while people are focusing continuously on profits and how much money the business makes, we focus on how much do you take home and what do you do with that money afterwards, so that if you didn't want to, you didn't have to work anymore. So really all about financial education, investment education, and helping, empowering you to make the right financial decisions.
Now, my listeners, they're going to be mostly business owners. Is there a certain sector that should be paying special attention to this? You said services, but within that, is there something like within your client base, a certain industry, especially that should be focused on this?
Well, there's two types of customers who should be looking at this. So one is the online coach, the agency owner, those who are chasing big revenue. They're in the hustle, they're stuck in it, and they are they're making the revenue, but then they're also putting all the revenue back into their business. So we call it the life sentence rather than a lifestyle business. So they are definitely should be listening and tuning in, because it's not all about the hustle. It's not all about the profits. It's about how do you generate yourself a life that is truly yours, right? You build it your way so you can live your life your way. When I talk about services, I talk about like really solid location-based businesses like manufacturing, engineering, all those businesses where the tradesmen decided to go into business because they thought it would be better to work for themselves, only to find out that it's been just a cash-eating machine, right? And it is actually not producing them the lifestyle that they want to.
Got it. That sounds like a lot of people I know, and myself too, when it comes to not being in flow with what I'm doing. I'm so curious about a couple of things that, and I was just looking through Facebook a little bit and through your podcast. Now, a couple of things come to my mind, and I want to give a sneak preview, and I hope you're okay with this. Yeah. In your group, you said 77 ways to increase your wealth. I want to get a peek at that a little bit later on. But before we do, what were you doing before you got into this? Right now, I believe you teach people through education and coaching on, everything you just described. Before that, what was your life like?
Yeah, I had a very interesting life. So I was born in Poland and grew up in Germany. So my parents gave me all the chances or the opportunities that you could possibly have. And my mother was an entrepreneur. She is a dentist. She built a big, massive practice with lots of team members. While my father was the entrepreneur that, that has continuously a new idea and never continues doing anything. So through watching my parents, I very much felt that like hard work will pay off, right? Saving every single cent will pay off, which when you think about where I work now and what I do now is so counterintuitive. But so my journey started pretty much with that hard work. And I worked originally in the event industry because my whole goal in life was to travel. I didn't want to be stuck in one place.
And that was your first business ever, is the events business?
Yes, absolutely. So while I started, I was like, I'll become a hospital queen. I travel the world. I do waitressing. But then I started my own events company, and I literally ended up working 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, putting all my time and all my energy into this business, only to find myself stressed out, heading for divorce, right? Like not enough sleep. My health was run down. I was total burnout, right? So here I am, that successful 20 something year old who's got her own business, 130 staff, everything, like everyone thinks like everything you want to dream of. But here I am, like with no husband, no health, and no time for myself. So it was an absolute nightmare, that life sentence that I talk about. So that's where I was in the past. I wish that would have been like one lesson that I learned only once, but as entrepreneurs, we tend to relearn these lessons. So I ended up running with my husband and his father a business, a manufacturing plant. So literally laser cutting steel, completely opposite to what I've ever done, only to find ourselves again, multi-million dollar business, but just stuck in one location, working 24/7. A little while, about 3 years ago, we decided, while I was already building my own online business, because location free was one of those non-negotiables for me at that time, we decided to sell just before COVID hit our manufacturing plant, and that just free up all our time to do other things, which was awesome.
So that's 3 businesses
I know, right?
that went through here. That's quite amazing. And what I'm really curious about is, okay, let's go back to the first one, the events business. If you went back into it, which I don't think you want to, but if you did, what would you do differently?
I would I would love to have another events business. My husband always reminds me that location free is one of my non-negotiables. Every time I go, I should do this again. What would I do differently? I would build definitely a different structure. I would build out and put an emphasis on the team that is around me, because like I said, I had 130 staff. I was in my 20s, so I had a lot to prove. And I would probably, the biggest lesson I learned is that just because you're there putting in the hours, you're not putting out the most valuable work or content, and no one's going to love you or appreciate you for working all these hours. I would have built a structure where I could spend less time working in the business and more time working on the business, so that I could grow it and be more creative to ensure its success, right? And a success beyond me as the owner.
Makes sense. And then when you exited that business, did you sell it or did you just shut it down? Can you tell me about that transition?
Yeah, no, the business got sold. I just wanted to get out, so I probably didn't get the most money for it. When I first started, we had a $500,000 loss. By the time I was done with it, we were making a healthy profit. Like I said, events to up to 60,000 people. We had solid contracts in place. So I sold the business. It ran for probably another 3 or 4 years, but the industry that we were in, which was horse racing, very much changed in New Zealand. So we went from 60,000 people to COVID hit, and everyone was watching it online. So they had a very tough transition, unfortunately, which no one could have predicted at the time, right? It's been a few years since I've left that business. But the transition was an interesting one. I handed over, and I did probably another 3 months in the business just to hand over all the reins. But as any new business owner, you want to put your own stamp on it, and you're no better, right? And you're coming in with all your fresh ideas. So I let them run with it. In the end, I had to go and say, this is no longer my business.
Yeah. 3 months is not bad. Usually earnouts, a lot of people agree to at least a year or 18 months, or I've heard of people doing 2-year earns. So that's 3 months is not bad.
Oh yeah, I needed to get out. Like I was on the last, like it took me 2 years after that business to recover. And with recover, I don't think that I've ever truly recovered. I am still on that journey, and that's like 10 years later, right? But I think that I didn't have anything more to give. And the people who took over from me knew this, so it was fine.
I want to go into right now, like you've gone through 3 businesses, and the question that's coming through my mind is right now you have current business, you're in the coaching consulting business, and you got your podcast, you've got content going out on multiple social media channels, and you have paying customers, right? Is this something that was new to you in the current business, or do you already do some content creation and marketing on social media in the other 2 businesses as well, the events business and the steel business?
Yeah, so absolutely, we did do a lot of social media. Not so much me personally, but we had a team obviously producing content. In the racing industry, it's big, right? Like content creation is big, but no one. Like at the time, we're talking here 10 years ago, everyone dabbled at it. No one really knew what they were doing. We were just putting out and helping. So there wasn't the idea of like metrics and like clear CTAs and all these things that people are throwing out. So we definitely did a lot of social media content around, mainly predominantly on Facebook. You know, we had our Facebook group, we had our Facebook pages were really big at the time. So that was the events business. In our manufacturing business, it was very different because our ideal customer, we were building trucks and trailers, and our average customer was 78. So, you know, like 75, they were all like engineers from the old school ways. So for them, it was all more about handshake than anything else. But what we did do in that business, and we did this through social media, is we built a home range. So we did like lampshades and features for the walls and tables and stuff like that. And that we promoted and funded through our Facebook campaigns, which was quite cool. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Very, very cool. So you were already in content creation and marketing a bit. You understood that. Tell me about the current thing you're doing right now. What type of content are you creating? Where's it going out to?
Yep. So we tried over the last couple of years, we tried ourselves on everything. So we tried ourselves on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, because, you know, everyone had this approach of only one video has to go viral. So let's put it out everywhere and hope that that one video will go viral, right? So that was probably the last couple of years before this year. And it taught us a valuable lesson for 2 reasons. One is content creation can become quite overwhelming and a beast in itself if you are just spreading content everywhere. And if you don't have a clear strategy for each channel, because each channel is different, you end up doing a lot of work for nothing, really, right? Like you don't get the views, you don't get the traction. So we ended up in this year focusing really clearly on 2 things. One is the podcast. So we've got actually 3 different podcasts running, depending on what interest you have. We have a female podcast, just purely financial conversations for females. We have the Modern Day Investor podcast, which is for everyday investors. And then we have the Hustle to Wealthy podcast, which is for business owners and coaches and consultants. So the reason there's 3 different ones is because we have a team of 10 and we have all a different specialty. So rather than going and saying, oh, we're focusing only on one and ignore everyone's talents and expertise, we decided we're going to go into 3 different podcasts. And then we're going to highlight every coach's expertise and passion, right? So we're very big believers around building a lifestyle business. So your business can be multi-million dollars, ours is, but that it's literally a business that supports your life and not the other way around. So that's what we've done with the podcast. We have one main Facebook group. In that Facebook group, the Modern Day Investor, we focus on anything investing education, so financial education, really from the startup, because it's fascinating how many people know how to make $7 million in revenue, but they do not know how to take that home and translate it into a profitable life, right? It's quite fascinating. I talk to so many 7-figure business owners and they go, oh yeah, I just know how much money I have and, you know, I pay it on credit card and then if I don't have enough, I make more. And this must be a really stressful life. So let's just change that conversation. And then we have our profiles. So I have a profile, my business partners have a profile where we publicly on Facebook, where we focus on that. And then now we've just started creating a YouTube channel. This is our new site. So when you're thinking about our marketing strategy or like the content creation strategy, it's very simple. We interview people on a podcast or share our knowledge on a podcast. And then we take that podcast and ask our team to split it into reels, into written content, format content, and then into a a voice podcast, and now into a YouTube podcast.
Amazing. Sounds like you're doing all the right things. First of all, I'm interested in, you said that you're 1/3 of a partnership with a couple other people. Could you kind of give us are you guys all equally creating the same amount of content under separate brands, or is it the same brand and just different faces?
Same brand, different faces. So we made the decision. Well, actually, it's twofold now. It used to be same brand, different faces. Now we have the Hustle to Wealthy. That's a separate brand, same faces. And the reason we did this is because it's a very different customer avatar to what we used to, like what we normally do at the International Academy. So there's actually 9 of us all up in the team. Not everyone is producing content. There's probably 3 main people in the company who are the faces of the company. We all bring our different strengths. So I bring business and systemization. My business partner, Mark Robinson, brings in all the financial education, because he used to be a financial planner for 30 years, right? So we have very different expertise. And that's what we find is the beautiful thing, that we don't, you would have a coach for business, and you have a coach for finances, and you have a coach for health, and you have a coach for mindset, etc. Between the two of us, we bring this magic together, because we believe that business should be one of the investments that you're using to fuel your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I think that there's a lot of people who need what you have to share. Tell me about how you are getting these guys across the line. I know that the podcast is still quite new. Is that right?
Yes.
The one. Yeah.
Yes.
So there must have been other things that are already working when it comes to content creation and marketing that brings people in. What's your biggest deal flow source right now?
It's actually partnerships. So it has literally nothing to do with digital marketing. So we use digital marketing, and we view digital marketing more as a source to social proof and knowledge and understanding and learning to warm up the audience. Our biggest lead source is partnerships. So we source through our YouTube channel and through our podcast, etc. We source partners who have similar audiences than us, right? And then we strike what we call a win-win-win situation, where we give value to their clients, and then we have a partnerships on the back end, like a remuneration partnership on the back end, where when we bring the customers across, they get a commission or an affiliate, depending on what it is. So for us, digital marketing is, we've only just in the last 12 months started doing things like messaging, DMing, having conversations with people. And not because we want the next sale, but what we really love about that approach and having a Facebook group and all of that is it's a two-way conversation with prospects and potential clients for us to really understand what is their problem, what do they need, how can we help them, right? So that part we use more as R&D, research and development for our products and social proofing, and then we use our partnerships to close the deals.
Amazing. I think that this is really great, because a lot of the guests I've had on here, their primary source of deal flow was coming from the content. And you are telling us you're kind of at the beginning stages of building that when you already have something that's working. And I think that's really important. A lot of people, when something's working, they just stick with it until it stops working. Then they're like, oh crap, I got to build something new or fix it. You're building multiple legs, multiple deal flow sources coming in. So I think that's great. What are your expectations with this content creation journey?
Look, they always talk about the overnight wonder, right? In digital marketing, they go, overnight you became the success story, and they don't see the 18 to 3 years beforehand that someone was slogging until they got to that overnight success. So when I think about digital marketing and content creation, there's 2 things that I think of. One is 100% value to our customers, right? If I can just transform one person's life by literally them going and picking up a nugget and going, oh my God, if I implement this in my life, I now, rather than working 80 hours, I work 40 hours. Or if I, just tweak my investment strategy, I'll make 10 to 20% a month and not 10 to 20% a year. That could be life transforming for people. So for me, it's all about giving back and giving value. Of course, everyone has an ROI and a metrics, right? So we measure how long, how many customers come from which lead source and how long it takes us. Our goal is that within the next 12 to 18 months, we see a significant shift, that it's not just partnerships that bring us the money in, but also we'll have 25 to 30% of our customers coming purely through our social media.
Why 12 to 18 months? Where did that number come from?
To me, it came from two folds. One is I believe in a slow approach. In our industry, being financial investments, scams is a thing, right? Everyone is like, it's a scam, it's a rug pull, it's a Ponzi scheme. Like you hear it all the time. So naturally, our building trust takes longer in our industry, just because there's just so much out there. So the reason we went 12 to 18 months is because I don't want to put myself under the pressure to go and say, within 6 months, I want to lift it up. If it does, great, bonus, right? But I want to go and say, because number one is value and giving value, I want to give it a fair, long chance to go and say, hey, we've tried it for long enough. Let's reevaluate. Is this working? Is it beneficial to our customers? And are we getting, or to our prospects, and are we getting any customers out of this, right? Like, customers is not my primary focus when I think about content.
Amazing. So it seems like you are taking what I would call a seasoned approach, because you've been through this business cycle a couple of times. I think a lot of people, if it's your first thing, I think it's actually a good thing that a lot of people have unrealistic expectations. Otherwise, they might never start, right? Just like, oh, it's going to take 5 years until the business is working properly. A lot of people are just like, I don't have 5 years. I'm just going to stick to my job. But then because they have unrealistic expectations, they make the commitment and then they figure it out. And it still takes 5 years, but they were expecting 6 months, or something like that. Right now, I think that because you're at such an early stage, what are some of the mistakes that you saw in the industry that you're like, I want to avoid that?
I don't want to be the call DM queen. Hey, how you doing? It's like the amount of email messages I get where it starts with like stranger goes, hey. And I'm like, there's so many people who have had DMs, and it's been a real phase over the last 3 years, that my first thought is, what the hell do you want? Right? So I don't want to be that person when it comes to that DM strategy, which is part of your content strategy.
And why is that?
Just because I don't want to be I don't want to prove them that, I'm another annoying person. Like I do DMs and I do have conversations with people, but my primary focus on that DM is, how can I be of service? Like, what content can I produce? What can I give so that you get value out of it? Not how do I close you as quickly as possible, right? That's probably why our social media strategy has been a lot slower than others, right? So that is number one. I really want to keep it on the focus that it's about value, not about the sale, right? And I believe that if you truly give value and people think the work you're doing is valuable, they will automatically come back to you. And we see this all the time in partnerships, right? We have conversations with people and we're like, I need you. And people are chasing us. So that's the beautiful thing about the business that we've created. Financially from the background, that we don't have to chase a sale. We are truly building a community of like-minded people who are all helping each other. So we have a vetting process before you even can become a client. So going cold call DMs going, hey, how are you doing? And I want your sale, goes against everything that our community stands for. Because we are not chasing the next sale. We're not chasing the person with the credit card, but the person who will provide value in our community. That's probably it. So, yeah. And then the other thing I would say is, when you, like, one thing that I've learned over the years, because I've been online for quite some time, right? Like, even like sharing content. I think the first thing that I've learned right at the beginning is, don't strive for perfection. Like, people actually like the journey. You don't want to put out rubbish content, but people enjoy the journey that you are on. And the longer the journey is and the longer they can see you evolving, the longer they stick with you. That's my true belief.
That's really true. My brother, this reminds me of my brother. He has a decent YouTube channel. I think it's 500,000 or so people following him. But when he started, he's a bodybuilder, by the way. And when he started, he was just a skinny teenager, But if you go all the way back, you could see the progression over the last 6 years or so, where he went and he's winning a lot of championships and stuff. But he keeps telling me it's the journey. It's the journey. People are supporting him because he's trying to hit these goals and they're cheering him on. So it's 100% true. I've seen it firsthand.
I would do that. Like, I'm not a bodybuilder, and if I wanted to become a bodybuilder, I would be a lot more attracted to a bodybuilder whose progression I can see in the story and the fails and the challenges and everything that they cross, so that I go, okay, this is what I'm about to expect, than just seeing that picture perfect person who's been working for 30 years and now promising you that you can do this in 6 months, right?
Now, when you start creating your content, and you've already started, I'm not sure if this is going to be a part of your content plan, but I just went and looked at your Facebook page and you said you got 77 ways to create wealth. Is that going to be a part of your content plan where you're going to put that out in short form content and blogs and stuff, or is that something separate?
We already do. So the 77 ways is obviously a lead magnet of ours. So all what we're trying to encourage in the modern day investor, everyday people, what we're trying to encourage people is to think outside the box of how you can make money. And that's not necessarily in investment space. Like I am a true believer that these days it's really hard to be unemployed and not bringing in money. Like you have success stories out there, and I know that not everyone is such a success story, but like our coach, Dan Bolton, he went from being a pastor in a church to multi-millions in 2 years on Facebook ads. Had nothing to do with the other. So between the content that is being created, the value that's being brought out, the skill set that you have, right, and just and partly AI that is out there, you can build a business model within 2 hours these days. So to me, the 77 ways is all about thinking outside the box, because there's so many people who are suffering at the moment with inflation and everything that's going on in the economics, rising interest rates, you name it, right? Everyone feels like they are being ripped off. What we are trying to do when we say 77 ways is the power is with you. You can make the decision to, even if it's a side hustle, if it's a permanent business, if it's like you can do whatever you like, you can generate more money, right? Even by let's look at affiliate models, right? Even if you didn't have any skills at any time, if you're passionate about a product, that's why Tupperware and Thermomix and all of them are so like highly successful, right? Is you find a product that you love and then you just go and share it with everyone. And that makes you an additional income. Now, you would be sharing this product with other people anyway. All you have to do is tweak, right? So 77 ways is really just a way of going, hey, you have the possibility right now to generate yourself more money and change your circumstances if you wish to. So giving people the whole no excuses, right?
Would you be able to share one or two of these 77 tips for my audience to kind of get their brains moving?
Yeah, so I'll share a couple of different things. One is yours are online coaches and business coaches, right? Is your predominant community, business owners. Find yourself a valid partnership with someone who you truly believe in, where you can cross affiliate. What I mean by this is, like, we have partnerships, like we build your whole portfolio. We help you to figure out what portfolio will stand the test of time that is true and right to you. We don't claim we are experts in all the different strategies that are out there. So we have like strategic partnerships with people who have AI bots or have property coaches or, certain strategies where we cross refer to each other, right? And then just give each other a commission. Because if I give the commission, like my thought is, if I give the commission to Facebook to run an ad, I might as well give it to a true and trusted partner. That's a really easy way for you to generate more revenue. Two ways: one, to get more clients, but two, also to get a side business and help your customers to feel like you're giving them more value without you having to deliver on it, right? So that would be one of the ways you can make more money. The other way to make more money, and especially as a business owner, is to go and look at alternative investment strategies. So you're looking at taking some of your profits and literally building out a profit leg that has zero to do with your own product, right? And the returns can be anything from 5% a month, 5% a year to 100% a month, depending on your risk factor, etc. There is, and I'm not talking here, go to crypto, put it all on Dogecoin. Please be like, that's not what I'm talking about. But there is strategies out there that are backed by property security in America, for example, where you can make 5% a month and you can help someone to stay in their house. Like this is, so there's just a lot of, like, I have a lot of passion for this space because I truly believe as a business owner, your money should be making you money. So when you're thinking about your Stripe account and your Stripe account going up overnight without you doing anything because you automated a service, I would also say think about how you can make money without you having to even have a product attached to it. Yeah. And then the other thing is, the last one is systems. So you're probably using systems in your business that have an affiliate attached to it. Like the perfect example is Go High Level. We've just started using Go High Level, but if you love Go High Level, like your CRM and your landing page builder or ClickFunnels or whatever, they have such a good affiliate system. So if you are working with people who need that system, just start advertising that. Again, another stream of income you can make. So it's just 3 out of 77.
Awesome. And I love that. And it's a great lead magnet. Like when I saw that, I was like, I got to know what's inside. And I'm here on the podcast using precious time from the podcast to talk about it because it's interesting. 77 ways. And the feeling it gives me is even if 90% of them are completely not applicable, that gives me 7.7 ideas that I might be able to use. So that's, yeah, just that sheer volume.
It's actually, the book we have is called 141 Ways, but we dropped it to 77 because the lead magnet got too long. And the feedback we got from people was that it was too overwhelming. So we cut it in half. We actually wrote down 141 ways of how you can make more money.
You should have a lead magnet in a lead magnet. Hey, if you want the other 140, then click here.
Yeah.
And then they're double opted in. Great. So right now, when someone comes into your world, right? They're a paying customer. Are you also creating content for them, like in the form of courses or like internal live content and stuff like that? Tell me about other places where content is being made.
Oh, yeah, we have lots of content. So our coaching program is, we have a one-on-one coaching program, but we give 2 webinars a week to our customers. One is an educational webinar where we literally jump in and provide financial education. The other one is opportunities that have been found in the community where we grab the owner of the opportunity and then our customers can go and ask them any questions to start their research and their due diligence to see if this is the right thing for them. So that's 2 ways of how we make content. We also have once a week, our crypto expert does the crypto hour. So he goes through everything that has happened during that week in the crypto space and in the economy to share a little bit like why it's such a highly volatile space. So that's a third part. Like, so we provide a lot of things. And then the other one is we do things like accountability calls, right? Where everyone comes with questions and then we reinforce the foundations to make sure that people, when they're making their decisions, because it's money, we have a lot of emotions attached to money. We use this time to give them, like, to make them think about, am I reacting and making this decision based on emotions or the knowledge and experience and the research that I've done? So yeah, we've got lots of different ways we create content in that space.
You know, I just thought of something, and I think this might be a big topic. The idea of proving your wealth. So, you know, a lot of people, they take photos with their Lambos, their private jets, their bank account screenshots, and we don't know if it's real or fake. There's so many people who are faking it, right? And I feel like there's a lot of people feel the pressure to prove that they're wealthy in order for people to pay them for advice around wealth, around business, around success, and things like that. And I think it works to some degree. These guys have huge followings on social media, and a big following builds credibility, and credibility gets you more leads and customers. What's your approach to this, since your entire topic is literally about, you know, making money, wealth retention, wealth creation, business? When it comes to proving that you are who you say you are, how do you do that?
Yeah, cool. So that's an interesting subject because I truly would not get a wealth advice from someone who drives a Lamborghini. Not because that they don't deserve it or that I don't like a Lamborghini, even though I don't. It's more because it's not about showing your money, right? It's not about, look at me, I'm so flash, I'm amazing. 99% of people in the world, or maybe let's be generous, 80% of people in the world are only after 2 things. One is time, right? And the other one is freedom. So all the other things like houses, Lamborghinis, etc., they are all nice to have, but that's not the desire that most people have. Like, out of thousands of customers that we've had, the 2 things they want is more time for themselves, for their families, to travel, to experience life, to create memory, and the freedom to be doing what they want, when they want, where they want. So when we take people on this journey and when we take us on the journey, our journey was very simple. So my husband and I, in 3 years, we went from 6-figure debt to traveling the world on our investment portfolio, right? With our business working on autopilot. So we took people through this journey of come and see what it looks like. Some days we backpack because that's what our choice was. Some days we were on Lake Garda on a boat by ourselves, laughing at everyone else who was, like sardines on the boat next to us. So that's how we take people on the journey. We don't go look at
And do you
us.
document and share that on social media, your
Yes, we
travels and
do.
things like
Lots
that?
of stories, lots of posts where we like share. When we traveled for the 14 months, I actually posted twice a week to just go, this is what travel looks like really. Because our travel was a little bit crazy. So we did document it, and the lessons that we've learned and the experiences we had and the good and the bad and the ugly, because people show you such a polished picture, but we all know life isn't polished. And even when they have a Lamborghini, they're probably stressing of how they're going to repay the insurance. Or, like there's just so much to life where it's not the pretty. So we documented all the stages. When my business partners Mark and Billy went traveling last year for 6 months, they created for our community, they showed literally how their portfolio supported their travel. And they made the deal that if the portfolio wasn't performing, they would be sleeping in the backpackers. If the portfolio was performing, you would see them somewhere in luxury, right? Flying business class. So, and again, we documented this once a week and we shared it. Like he shared his portfolio, he opened it up, he shared what was working, what wasn't working, how much money they made, lost, took out of their portfolio to travel. So that's how we share our journey. So rather than going, look at us flashy, amazing, right? Living our life. The other thing, like for me, it's hobbies, right? It's because it's all about time and freedom. You probably, when you flick through my profile, you'll see a lot of pictures skiing. So I'm a addict when it comes to skiing. I do all my meetings on the ski field. So every time a prospect, a customer, anyone showed up, I would usually be in my ski gear on the hill going, okay, what are we talking about today, right? And we designed our life.
So you're actually on the slopes. You just like pull over
Yep.
on the slope, the double black diamond or whatever, right? And then you get on a Zoom call on your phone, and
So let us know.
that's wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so
So
cool. We
we've
should get you something highly mobile. There's that one guy who's actually very very famous now, and he did all these things where he has a green screen strapped to his back, and he's got a rig with a laptop, and it's just this Zoom kind of joke. But you're doing it for real.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. It's really funny because we are known, like my husband and I are known for sitting in the snow or being on the, hiking or whatever and going, okay, how can I help you? What can I do? Right. Because all we do is the living our life the way we build it. Right. And that's what all our customers desire, just the life that they wanted. And a lot of people might not want to travel, but they want time with their families. Right. So we get it. We totally understand. Like my family is about to jump on a plane. They're all flying in, Tyrell's parents. So there's like 12 of us for 3 months in our house. That will be documented. So you can watch the story of how it unfolds, truly making memories, the good and the bad and the ugly, when you're all confined into one
Sounds like
place.
a lot of fun.
It
Sounds
is.
like so much.
Yeah.
Where else have you taken client or business meetings that is interesting? Like the slopes, I love that. I never thought of doing that. What else have you done?
I literally take them anywhere. We were in New York over Christmas and I was standing on the edge. I don't know if you have ever seen the building, but it's 100 stories high and it has a glass floor and you go out on the
Sears
balcony.
building?
At the edge. It's called the edge.
The Empire State? Oh, the Edge. No, I
The
haven't been
edge,
there.
yeah. So anyway, it has this balcony outside, which has like 101 floors above ground, and it has a glass floor. And I'm sitting there having a conversation with one of our clients, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, just sipping champagne on the edge. It's quite fun." What else did I do? I took them anywhere, because we traveled for 14 months. All our clients traveled with us, so we took them from Mexico. I was sitting at the side of a hot rock pool in the middle of we were like it's funny, we were walking through these tunnels underwater, and I had my phone with me and I had to have a call, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to make it. So as we were like crawling out of the hole, I had to have a phone conversation. So I had my earbuds on while I'm like climbing, and I'm like, hey guys, how you doing, and having chats. So yeah, I mean, you build your business, was my true belief. You build your business because you want to have control over your life. And the only way to control your life is by actually going and doing what you want to do, right? So that's what I do with my clients. I'm like, you're coming with me. You're coming on the journey. So we just had clients come and visit us. We stayed, who are now like don't call them actually clients. We call them members. And our members and our community is like a family. So wherever you go, this is the other beautiful thing. Wherever we traveled, we have community members all around the world. So then we just jump in and say, hey, we're coming. We're in Venice. Do you want to come pop in? And then we'll jump into a water taxi in Venice and spend the day with them. So currently we have a couple of our members who are close friends of ours now over this period. They spent the last two weeks with us, and they are hiking all around New Zealand, and then they have us as a base, and then they go again. So yeah, very much intertwined, living the life together.
I love it. Thanks so much for sharing that. We're coming close to the end of our conversation. Tell us a little bit about what you're thinking, because I know that you just started this content creation thing, but are there other things in the pipeline as far as business related content or even personal life related, client related content that you're doing?
Yes. So you will see more, like if you are following my journey or start following my journey, you'll see more and more content and a lot more video content. We do react, as much as we might not be happy with it, we do react to the fact that people love their videos. I don't understand it. I personally don't, but I'm like, people love videos. So we're going to be showing up a lot more live, a lot more activity in our YouTube channel, a lot more activity in our Facebook group where you can see us face to face. We've taken an approach now that it's not just about us sharing content, but about us jumping on real life conversations with people in our community. Don't have to be paying clients. Also like prospects or, community members in the Facebook group, and literally just tackling like their fears, their question marks, their objections that they might be having, because I truly believe that everything that one person asks, someone else is thinking and not asking, right? So what we are on this journey to uncovering and unplugging all these things that people are worried about, because we truly believe wealth is not just for the wealthy. Wealth should be a right for every human being. So just want to make it happen. We just want to show everyone that wealth is achievable for you. We've got such, like these days, it's so easy to transfer wealth. There's so much free money going out, even if you feel like this doesn't apply to you, there's so much money going around in the world that we just want you to claim your share and live a life where you don't have to worry about your basic needs and worry about where does the next sale come from and how you're going to pay the next bill and all that kind of stuff. So a lot more video content, a lot more conversations, recorded conversations that show the behind the scenes, and a lot more, this is not just the perfect world. There is a lot of, excuse my French, shit that can go wrong, right? So let's just show how it goes wrong. But when it goes wrong, what can you do to navigate, to change, and to move it? Like, we are on a mission to make sure that finances is something that is spoken about around the dinner table in every family around the world. That's a bold claim, right?
I like it. For my listeners' sake, if they want to find out more about you or follow your journey, where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook, PH Roach, or in one of our two Facebook groups, the Modern Day Investor or the Hustle to Wealthy group. Oh, and for the female ones, Female Investor Circle. So we've got 3 groups, and same thing with like YouTube, Instagram, etc. But I actually just live mainly on Facebook because I don't know, everyone hates the platform. I like it. I think it's fun. I have my content is curated to me. I enjoy watching what my friends and inspiring business owners are doing and sharing in the knowledge that I learned. So I love that platform. I love the group. I like to hang out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Paulina.
Pleasure.
Any last words of advice for someone who has a successful business, whether it's in consulting or coaching or as an agency owner, but they haven't started creating that content yet? I know you're pretty early on in your journey, but what was the advice you gave yourself to make that decision to be putting yourself out there with your content?
2 things. One is don't overthink it, and the other one is get going. Like, it takes time to build an audience. It takes time for the audience to trust you in this noisy world. So get going, get started. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't overthink it, right? But just share you and trust that the right people who relate to you will connect with you. And then probably the last thing I would say, get an expert in to get some guidance on the strategy. So don't just throw it out there. Have a little bit of a strategy of how you're going to capture these people. What is the outcome you want to achieve with this? And what's the best way right then and there for you to do so.
Thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
Guys, if you enjoyed this, then please go check out the links below the podcast episode inside the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the links in the description. Check out her social media. See if her journey is something that you want to continue following. I know I certainly will. And thank you so much, Paulina, for sharing your wisdom.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. That's it for today, guys. And I will see you next week.
No hustle worship here, we're a different breed. Action is what we got if action is what you need. Content capitalists, we're breaking the mold. Cause the old ways fading, new stories to be told. So content capitalists, get to the prize.